Hi there. I want to show you how to make 3 great snacks or appetizers using sourdough crostini. So this is very simple to do, and these are all really good options. So here I have a fermented hummus with roasted red peppers, sauerkraut, and some parsley. And here we have some uh, yogurt cream cheese with sauerkraut, dates, red onion, and a bit of dill. And then on the end here we've put a little tiny bit of yogurt cream cheese underneath, and then we've topped it with some tomato and olives with parsley. There's also some onion in there. So we got a lot of prebiotic, probiotic stuff going on here. Of course, the hummus and the red peppers as are prebiotic. The sauerkraut is probiotic. It also has some prebiotic benefits as well. The parsley, of course, helps aid digestion. The one with the dill has dates, which are prebiotic, red onions, which are prebiotic, sauerkraut, which is probiotic and prebiotic, and of course the dill aids digestion. And then, of course, here we have the tomato and olive. So olives are another example of a probiotic food. There's a bit of yogurt cream cheese here, which is also probiotic. And then we have tomatoes and onions, which are prebiotic. We also have some garlic in here, which is prebiotic. So you have a really nice combination of different flavors and tastes, and you don't have to do all 3, just pick one, I would, and serve that to your guests. This one can be served warm, and they're just really, really yummy with lots of different flavors, and I think you'll really like these. And what I really like the most about these is the sourdough crostini because it really makes it, the fillings taste good on their own. You could even use these as dips for things or put them on crackers, but there's something about the crostini that just finishes the appetizer or the snack. So I'm going to show you how to make all of these, and then you can try these on your own. So if you want to make a recipe with yogurt cream cheese, of course, the first thing you have to do is make the yogurt cream cheese, and it's a very simple thing to do. You buy some yogurt, or if you've made your own, then you use that, and you set up this contraption. So I've got a bowl here, I've got an empty yogurt container, I've got a tight mesh cloth. You could use a tea towel or anything like that. I wouldn't use a whole tea towel, just a piece of it. Even a sheet, a piece of an old sheet or something that's clean would work. And then you want to secure this over an empty yogurt container, so you can see I have here, with an elastic band, and you stick the yogurt in and you let it drain. And what you'll see is, first of all, you'll see that despite, we're draining way into this container, we have excess in our bowl. So this is why I always put it in a bowl, and I always tuck these ends in because it always soaks the cloth, and if you don't do that, then you get whey all over your counter. And that's pretty much it. It takes about 6 to 8 hours for this to have a fairly stiff consistency. It's pretty soft now, but then it's at room temperature. And I usually do this the night before. I do this all the time. I really like using this in various things. So I'll just set this up the night before, and then it'll be ready in the morning when I get up. And of course, the extra whey I keep, and you can use that in smoothies or you can use that to ferment something else. It's very useful to have the extra whey there, so you don't have to throw that out. And that's basically all there is to yogurt cream cheese. So here's a really quick and easy snack idea, or this also makes a great appetizer. So essentially what I have here is some sourdough crostini that I made up ahead of time. I have some fermented hummus, which again, if you don't have fermented hummus, you can use regular hummus. It still works very nicely. I have some sauerkraut that has been rinsed and drained and chopped. I have some chopped fresh parsley, and I have some chopped roasted red peppers. And there's not much to this. I have about a cup of hummus here, and I'm adding about half a cup of roasted red peppers. And then I'm going to not put all of this in here. I'm going to put in about a 1/4 cup of the sauerkraut and just a sprinkle of the parsley because I'm going to put some more on top. And I'm just going to mix all this in. Oh, that's so pretty. Now, if you want, you can sea salt it and add pepper to it as well. I would taste it first. Usually it doesn't need a lot because all these things sort of stand alone. There's some salt taste to the sauerkraut as well. The hummus has probably already been seasoned, so you can just probably not do that if you don't want to. You can add a little extra pepper. I think we will do that because extra pepper is always nice. And now we're ready to put this on our crostini. So you could put this in a piping bag and pipe it on if you like, but we're just going to spread a little on. Just enough. And if you do this up ahead of time, the crostini will soften up a bit, so that makes it easier for people to try it. If I was serving this as an appetizer and not as a snack, I would probably cut the crostini in half so that they're bite size, and that makes it really easy for people to eat. Now, if you don't have time to make the crostini, another thing you can do is just take cucumber slices and put it on the cucumber slice like this. Too messy. Okay, so that looks really nice too. And then what you want to do so that it's finished and it looks more presentable is you're just going to put some parsley pieces on top, and that just gives it a nice little finish. So we didn't add that much parsley. And you can cut the parsley finer than I've done. I like big parsley pieces, so that's my preference. And there we go. So there's our hummus red pepper appetizers or snacks. These are great snacks, but they're also good for serving to guests if you're entertaining. Here's a great snack idea or appetizer using yogurt cream cheese. So what we have here is we have about a cup of the yogurt cream cheese. And we have some cucumber, some dates, some dill, some sauerkraut, and some red onion. And how much you add of all of this is up to you. The first thing we're going to do is we're just going to put in a little bit of sea salt and pepper to flavor our cream cheese. Mix it in. And then we're going to add, about a tablespoon of red onion. We're going to add in another tablespoon of sauerkraut. And then we're adding in a tablespoon of, they're dried dates, but they were nice and soft. If they're too hard, I would add some water and soak them a bit before I added them to this. And then we're going to add about a tablespoon of cucumber and maybe a teaspoon of fresh dill. And then we're just going to mix all that in together. This is very pretty. Okay, so now we can start to add this, and I'm going to put this on some sourdough crostini, which I made up ahead of time. And you want to have a small palette knife like this, and you're just going to put some lightly on here. And if you put this on ahead of time, then the bread will soften up a bit. However, they're pretty easy to eat because, as I said, with sourdough crostini, it's a little chewy in the middle, so it's not too crunchy. It doesn't like break up into a million pieces when you bite it. Okay, so that is that. We've got that on. And then we're just going to add a little extra dill to make them pretty. And there we have our cream cheese sauerkraut appetizers, or snacks if you want to just have them as snacks, with the yogurt cream cheese on the crostini sourdough. Here's a great snack or appetizer idea using sourdough crostini, only this time we are going to have it warm. So what we have here is about half a cup of tomatoes chopped, 2 tablespoons of white onions chopped, 2 tablespoons of olives chopped, and some chopped fresh parsley. We also have a clove of garlic, and we have some yogurt cream cheese that we're going to use on the sourdough crostini. Okay, so this is really simple. You just start your saucepan over medium heat, put in about 1 to 2 teaspoons of olive oil. And we're going to start by sauteing the onions. And you don't have to completely cook them, just enough that they start to get a little translucent. They take a little bit longer than the tomatoes, so we want to get them going first. Now, if you wanted to do a raw version of this, and you didn't want to cook it, you didn't care if it was warm, then what you could do, instead of using the whole tomato with the juice, you could eliminate the seeds and the pulp from the middle of the tomato, and then just use the outer part, and so that'll be drier. So you could do it that way and have the fresh garlic with that nice strong garlic taste. And you can change the herbs. You could use oregano, you could use parsley, which we're using. You can use basil. Doesn't really matter. Okay, so now we're going to add our garlic. And we're just going to cook that a little bit before we add the tomatoes. And now we're going to add the tomatoes. And so these are the only 3 ingredients that get cooked. We're obviously not going to cook the olives because they are a fermented food. And so we want to preserve the good bacteria that is in the olives. Now you could cook them if you like, but we're not going to. And all you're going to do, so you can see there's a fair bit of liquid there. So all we're going to do is just cook this long enough until it dries out. And we're going to stir it, as we go, because if it dries out and you leave it unattended, it can stick on the bottom, and that won't be pleasant. You might burn it. So we're just going to keep moving it around so that it doesn't stick. You don't have to stand here and stir it like this, but you should at least periodically move it around just to make sure. This doesn't take very long because we're on medium-high heat, so this will be done in no time. Now, another ingredient that you could add would be pineapple. I love the combination of pineapple, tomatoes, and olives. But if that's not to your liking, this is really nice too. It's fairly sharp tasting because of the olives. And we're going to add one more special ingredient to give it even a little more zing. And this is going to depend on the kind of tomatoes that you have. I use cherry tomatoes because they generally have the most flavor and any time of year. And but even then, sometimes they're not as flavorful as you might like. Okay, so you can see this is dry now. So we're going to pause that, and we're just going to put this in our little dish here. And I realized I made a mistake because I should put it in this dish. But that's okay, I'll do that now. There we go. And now we're going to add our olives. And we're going to put in some of the parsley. Not all of it, because we're going to use some of it for garnish. Now you can put in a little pepper as well. And you can put in a bit of sea salt, but you want to taste that and make sure that you're not putting in too much because the olives are a bit salty tasting. Okay, so now comes the magic ingredient. So here's our magic ingredient. It is apple cider vinegar, and we're just going to put in maybe half a teaspoon, not a lot. And that just gives it a little extra zing. Very nice with this. Okay, so this is ready to go on the crostini. So that's what we're going to do now. So here we go. We're going to start by putting just a thin layer of the yogurt cream cheese on each one. And then if you want to do bite size, you cut the bread in half like this. So these make really nice bite-sized appetizers. Okay, so once we have the yogurt cream cheese on there, now we're just going to scoop a bit of the olive tomato mixture on here. It's so pretty. And again, this is warm. So if you want to serve this warm, then you make this up just before serving. And what you can do is you can put the cream cheese on the bread ahead of time, and that way you've got at least that part done, and then there's not much to just topping this up with the olive tomato mixture. And then we're just going to put a little parsley on top because that's just very pretty. Okay, so there's another great snack or appetizer idea. All right, we are back where we started. So we started out showing this platter, and now here they all are ready to eat. So give these a try. I think you'll really like them. And I think your guests, if you're serving these to them at a dinner party or any kind of event like that, I think they'll really like them too.